Endurance athletes need this testing in order to determine where they are, how they need to train, and how they get to where they want to be. If you're asking yourself why you always get tired at the end of the race, or why your shins always bother you leading up to a race, over 20 years ago, I was training a specific way that I really didn't understand fully up until a couple years ago. This type of training has kept me healthy and optimized for performance for all my races, whether it's swimming, running, or triathlons. Let's talk about the advantages and disadvantages of VO2 max testing, and I'll give you my insights on how it's helped me at the end of the video. So there are going to be 5 advantages of taking this test. You're going to get personalized training zones. These are going to allow you to determine what is actually an easy workout, an easy long run, or an easy training session, recovery run, whatever you want to call it. And then it's going to help you determine what your threshold and sprinting should be at. I believe heart rate doesn't lie. Heart rate tells you how much stress is going on in your body at that given time. So if I go for an easy run, but it's 110 degrees outside and 100% humidity, my heart rate's going to be higher. You can't tell me that that's less stress on my body than it is running in 60-degree overcast weather. This test is a performance assessment. It sees where you are right now in your training. This helps determine where you're going to go moving forward. Typically, you're going to get this assessment done in the beginning or middle of your training cycle. The reason that is in the beginning is to specifically guide you in what kind of workouts you need to do to improve your performance for the races towards the end of the season. If you do this in the middle of the season, now you have a really good aerobic base, and now you can build off of that. So you might have a better number in the middle of the season versus the beginning of the season because of that training. And then you can focus on whether you need to do a lot more speed work so that your recovery heart rate comes down faster, or if you need to do a little bit more endurance training to maintain that baseline or improve that baseline. Hitting the like button will really help me get to other athletes that want to learn more about this topic. This will help identify your limiting factors. It will pinpoint areas of weakness that you can improve upon with specific workouts. This is where your coach can come into play and give you personalized training. In my most recent test, I found out that my recovery heart rate was taking longer to come down to a zone 2 than it should have. So the way for me to train this is I would have to do really high, intense workouts for a short amount of time and then rest. And then doing that multiple times allows my body to adapt and adjust and train me to bring down my heart rate over time after an intense workout. Seeing the numbers from these tests can be very motivating and keep you very accountable. If you have different intervals of when you're going to get tested, 6 months, 12 months, you're going to be able to stick to a plan to help improve this number. But there are a few drawbacks to this. Cost is one thing. It could be a couple $100 to be able to get this test. Along with the cost of it, you might have to travel pretty far depending on where you live. I know I see athletes coming from 2-3 hours away just to get this test done at the clinic that I work at. There is going to be some discomfort with this. You have a mask over your face that's attached to you. You're breathing in what feels like a little bit of a claustrophobic atmosphere so that you can measure accurately the amount of oxygen that you're processing. So if you are a little claustrophobic, it will be a little bit more challenging. But I truly believe that the results are totally worth the discomfort. There can also be a slight risk of injury. Because of this test, you are ramping up to a very fast pace, slightly on an incline, and running until you kind of give out. It depends on your medical history and injury history, but I will say it's a very short test overall compared to even running a 5K. If you're running a 5K, this is going to be a lot less intense than that because it's just shorter. It gets very, very intense, but for a shorter amount of time, if that makes sense. So you might be interested in a VO2 max test, but not sure what you're going to get out of it. So far, it looks like pretty challenging and you get some data. Like, okay, my watch shows me this VO2 max as well. So a VO2 max test is actually going to give you very specific zones for you to train in. So your zone 2 training or easy training is going to stay easy. You're not going to have like a little bit of a guesswork as to, hey, if I'm running at a 135 heart rate, is that in zone 2 or is that zone 3? Zone 2 on a 5-zone system is going to be your easy recovery runs. Or this zone 3 is going to be like a little bit of a gray area where you're not going easy enough to recover and you're not going fast enough for you to push the performance needle forward. So it's, in my mind, a little bit more of a wasted zone compared to the other two. If you do a lot of easy stuff in zone 2, that's going to allow you to build up your endurance. And then if you do a little bit in zone 4 and 5, that's going to help push your performance forward and allow you to become faster as the seasons go on. There's too many athletes out there that I see every day that work in this zone 3 or zone 4 all the time. And they're coming to see me because they have injuries. So I really am a proponent of this VO2 max testing so that you can learn what is your actual easy and what is your actual difficult training zones. So like I said, this VO2 max helps set training zones specific to you to allow you to become faster with the faster stuff and recover with the easier stuff. It allows you to train smarter and not just train harder. Efficiency is key in swimming, biking, running, and overall training. And this helps you get there to become a very efficient athlete. So you decide to take the test and you get a lower VO2 max than your watch says or you anticipated. Then what do you do? An easy way to improve your VO2 max test is to work on this end of the spectrum in terms of your heart rate. If you do high intensity interval training, you will be able to specifically improve your aerobic capacity, the amount of oxygen that your body can process. You do this for a consistent time period and then retest, and then you can find that your zones have improved and your amount of oxygen that your body can process increase. What do these HIIT or high intensity interval workouts look like? There are different workout groups or workout classes that you can do, or you can have a running interval track session, or you could do interval runs, cycling sprints, or intervals in the pool with swimming. Each of these will help improve your overall aerobic capacity. I talked about this in my swimming training video. If you do not change your workouts in the pool, then you're always going to swim the exact same way. So you have to have these high intensity interval sessions in the swim, the bike, the run to be able to improve your performance long term. Now, VO2 max test is not the only thing that goes into play when you're determining your performance, but it is a crucial one. Factors like lactic threshold and muscular endurance are also big components to your overall performance, not just your VO2 max. So if I'm looking at my VO2 max test results, my low zone or zone 2 is going to be upwards of 146. Now previously, I had always thought that was in my zone 3, but with my training and adaptation, I've been able to push the limits of that. This also tells me my higher zones are going to be 155 and above. That's going to be zone 4 and up to improve my performance by training above and beyond that threshold. This also tells me what my 2-minute recovery and 1-minute recovery rates are for my heart rate. So once I stop the test, it takes me 1 minute to get down to 149, and it takes me 2 minutes to get down to 130, which is in the zone 2. These test results also tell me what my VO2 max score is, how efficient my body is at processing oxygen, how high my heart rate got up to, and what my fitness level is right now. There are going to be changes to your VO2 max as time goes on. Whether you get a little bit older or you train specifically, it's going to go up or down. So with this knowledge, you can use it in your future sessions to help train you in whichever direction you want to go. Comment down below what performance testing you have done. Have you done lactic threshold? Have you done VO2 max testing? FTP, Cooper testing? What have you done so that everyone else knows that there are these tests out there that check your performance and give you a lot of data as to where you are right now? If you enjoyed this video, then you should watch this one.